Hey guys, welcome to Black Girls Can DIY Too. And in my DIY Roman shade video, I told you guys that I would come back with a video on how I put molding around all the windows in my house. These are the tools that I used for this project. So I have my hammer and a screwdriver. I use that to kind of wedge out a piece of wood, and I'll show that to you a little bit later. My oscillating saw, so I use that for a more strategic cut. My number 2 pencil, you always need a good pencil. I have a scrap piece of wood that I cut at the miter that helped me with measuring and making sure that I had everything measured correctly. My blue painter's tape, I use that to hold the molding. And then I have my square that I use that to help me kind of measure the reveal around the windows. Now I have a compressor and a nail gun, but if you don't have that, then you can use your drill with a small drill bit, and then just use finishing nails. Down there I have my nail set that I use with the hammer that you can easily just finish it off with regular nails and a nail set. I have short window sills and the molding can't sit on top of it. So I had to notch out a little bit of the wood. I use my oscillating saw to saw into the wood, and then I use my hammer and screwdriver to notch the wood out. Being a DIYer, I usually am doing projects by myself, and I need a second pair of hands sometimes. Blue painter's tape. Oh my God, this stuff is amazing. It holds a lot of things for me, including this molding, so that I can get a good measurement for when I go and cut it. But again, blue painter's tape, I use it so many times to hold so much for me, and it's definitely my second set of hands. So I'm going to go back to the other side. I have this molding up with my painter's tape holding, and I mentioned at the beginning of the video about a reveal. So most windows and doors have a 1/16 or 1/8 inch reveal around all the windows. I'm using the drywall as a reveal. Some people use additional wood molding to go up against it, but now that I have the reveal completely measured out and wanting to make sure that it's all level, I'm going to go back up to the top and show you guys where I use my square to line, just to help me see and line the wall, so that I kind of have the top where I wanted the reveal to start, and kind of made sure as I went all the way down that that reveal was pretty equal all the way down on this piece of molding. So once I have my reveal pretty set the way that I want it to, then I'll take this scrap piece of molding and I'm going to put it up to the bottom, so that again I have it measured up, lined up properly, so then when I go to measure the top for the miter cut up at the top, it's all measured right. And I'll eventually fill that all in with wood putty and make sure that it's all nice and clean. So up here at the top is where I'm going to mark the molding so that I can go and cut the miter. And so I just measure from where I measured on the wall for the reveal. It helps me make sure that I have it where I want it. And then I'll draw a line across the molding so that it helps me to remember what direction I need to cut. So I've got my molding on my miter saw, and I just need to adjust it to make sure that it is at a 45-degree angle for this cut. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this wood, and I will be right back. Now that I have the molding on the left and the right hand side, here's a little trick that I learned. If you put the molding on the top and sit it up top, it will give you the perfect measurement without having to do multiple measuring. So I put a little line and some directional arrows to help me with direction. And then I'm also going to draw one more line to remind myself where I need to cut once I take this to my miter saw to cut. And then do the same thing on the other side so that you have that measurement to cut and miter the other side as well. So now I took the molding out to my miter saw, and I'm going to transfer the markings to the front side of the wood for cutting. So I used the top molding and dry fitted it to the top and the bottom, and it fit perfectly. So I'm going to use it as my measuring stick for the bottom piece of the molding, so I don't have to measure. I don't have to worry about holding it in place. So I took the top molding and laid it on the piece of bottom molding that I'm going to cut, and I'm going to scribe it on both sides so that it'll make it so much easier for cutting. I don't have to get out my tape measure and remeasure anything. Using my blue painter's tape again as my second set of hands so that it can hold everything in place while I scribe on the bottom piece of molding to make sure that I get a perfect cut. I have my molding up on all four sides of the window, and I nailed the top and the bottom. But most molding is not straight, so you normally would nail the top, the middle, and the bottom all at the same time. But because this molding is not straight and is bowed a little bit, I'm going to have to hold the middle and make sure that that reveal is set exactly where I want to. So I'm going to pull this molding over and use my nail gun while I'm holding it with my hand to make sure I have that reveal right where I want it. I've nailed it down and I have the reveal exactly where I want it. I'll go back later and paint it white and fill the nail holes in with putty. I'm going to show you guys my kitchen because I actually finished these windows already. So I went in and filled all the gaps with wood putty and then went around all of the windows and painting them, making sure that I paint the reveal so that it actually looks like wood instead of drywall. So I got this all painted white, nice and crisp. Everything looks great, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other windows. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you found it inspiring. Maybe you'll get out and do some decorative trim around your house. And remember, as always, Black girls can DIY too.